So a very good afternoon to all of you. We are starting with the GD now. It's already 5 minutes above the time, so let's start. First of all, I have muted all of you. That's one. Secondly, as I typed in the chat, those who can turn on the videos, please do so. Or you can turn on your videos only if when you speak, if you have bandwidth issues or something like that. Now moving on to the GD part. The GD is based on COVID-19. The topic is basically COVID-19. Could India have fared better, or what can India do from now on to battle this COVID-19 pandemic better? I have also posted 5 questions in the group. You can take references from that. You can articulate your points after reading those questions. But the thing is, all of you only get 5 minutes or around that to speak. So please maintain brevity in your points and please speak clearly. Please don't use filler words. As ma'am said in her feedback, there's no need for and the all those filler words which you use. So please don't do that. Please don't use foul language. I received feedback and I've also shared in that group, but please don't do so. And the format of this GD or the discussion will be those who want to speak, you can raise your hand. I'm sure all of you know how to raise your hand. It's in the bottom right corner of the participant pane. And those who want to speak can raise their hand right now. So all of you who will speak or those who have raised their hands will get 5 minutes to speak. When you are crossing that limit or when I feel you are close to that limit, I will private message you just to tell you to wrap things up. And then once everyone has spoken for 5 minutes or those who want to speak, we'll open the meeting for all. And then when we open that meeting for all, I request you to maintain the dignity or the discipline of a GD. Please don't talk over each other, especially on the Zoom platform where latency and internet is an issue for all. So please don't talk over each other. Don't cut each other out and listen to everyone. Right? Toshif has raised his hand first. Toshif, please go on.
Okay, hello everyone. So regarding COVID, I have mixed reactions to this. So going on with the first point, which was the lockdown. So was this fruitful or not? I guess there are a couple of points which make it fruitful and couple of points which doesn't. So the main point which I thought was not fruitful for this lockdown was the test rates. The government should have increased the test rate, and by now the government should have scanned whole of the population for COVID tests, but government could not do so. The test rate even after 2 months of lockdown was very low as compared to the population of the country. So that was a very big disadvantage. The other very major advantage was that India got to prepare itself for the upcoming COVID scenario. We all knew before the lockdown that the cases are going to be on the rise and we are going to see the peak in upcoming months. So due to the lockdown, the public were inside and it was not a sudden peak for India. So India got a time to enhance its medical infrastructure. India got time to, uh, arrange for COVID hospitals, arrange for testing kits, etc., so that it can handle the situation in a much better position. So that was good. What India could have done at that time was we can take the model of Bengaluru. So Bengaluru, how they did is for one COVID positive patient, they scanned or they tested COVID positive for 47 of its uh, contacts, and rest of the India it was the ratio was 1:3. So for every positive they were scanning just 3 more people, and Bangalore did 47 tests. So that kind of thing they should have implemented in India to be in a better position now. But since India got a time to arrange for the medical infrastructure and they enhance their medical infrastructure, India is in a good position as compared to the world, I can see. So that was good. Finance, I guess it was India was very much impacted, but still not that much as compared to China or the manufacturing hub countries. Still, the government tried very good by introducing schemes for MSMEs. But I visited the bank to inquire for the MSME. The government has kept the MSME all the risk to the bank itself. Government is very not serious about giving the loan money back to the bank. So banks are not willing to give the money to actual MSME. It is all those corporators and government workers and influence corruption people. They are going to get all the loans. So actually, the MSMEs are not getting impacted by that. They could have enforced this scheme in a much better way. So that was a finance impact. Again, the what is the new normal? So I guess this is a very good chance for some of the industries to redefine the way they are working. And the IT industry, they have adapted well. I was working in an IT industry when the lockdown was enforced, and they did a very good thing. They were giving us laptops to carry at our home for around 15 days. I was carrying my laptop every day to my home and coming back the other day with a laptop. So even if over the night the lockdown is imposed, we can carry on our work on the next day itself. So there won't be any break in the standard operating procedure of the company. So that was a good thing, and it is a very good chance for them to redefine their whole model. So working from home, they can make it the new normal, and thus they can reduce many of the costs. But also, even in the IT industry, there are some things which are better done in person to person. So they can do, what they can do is they can reduce the number of employees working from office, and they can increase the number of people working from home. So in that way, they can, it's a very good chance to redefine it and hence increase the profits and revenues. Regarding the schools and colleges also, I think they should also adapt to this new change. There is a good quote is accept, adapt and improvise. So this is a very long term problem. We all know it's not going to end soon. So we should accept it, we should adapt it, and we should improvise it. The Great Lakes is doing a great job in this, because management in these institutes, they should be the first one to implement this, because this is what they teach to us as a management students. So they're doing a great job, and I guess this will be a benchmark for other schools and other colleges in the country to accept, adapt, and improvise. So these are my thoughts. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Toshif. That was actually perfectly 4 minutes 30 seconds. So nice one. Uh, Arnav, you are next. Please go on.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, you're audible. Go on.
Okay. Thank you. Just wait. So 5 questions. First of all, yes, the lockdown was worth every bit of it, as it just not stopped the spread of the disease among masses, but also provided required time for the government to enhance its medical facilities. Secondly, I agree that because of lockdown, millions of people has to face financial crisis, but also choosing the life between financial distress and life. Most of us will choose life at any day. But I feel the problem with lockdown was its implementation, as giving just prior notice of 4 hours before the nationwide lockdown, as and no prior arrangement for the migrant laborers has shown us one of the devastating pictures of our lifetime, like seeing people die on road and others. And problem lies in us also, as according to a study, 50% of the people don't use face masks, maintain social distancing, or use sanitizers. And other point is, India as a country was very active in taking strong decisions as to curb the COVID-19. As when there was just 500 cases in the nation, our PM announced nationwide lockdown, and the testing numbers was also increased at a rapid pace, from thousands per day in the month of April to almost 6 lakhs currently. And currently, India has one of the least cases per million population and one of the highest testing numbers. And because of this, WHO has also praised our measures against COVID-19. And when it comes to colleges and schools, according to me, I think no, schools and colleges should not open till the vaccine is found or the situation is under control. Because again, choosing a year of education or life, I'll choose life any day. And when it comes to financial problems that we have faced, firstly, for the government, the budget was announced on the 1st February of this year for the financial year 2021 has become almost irrelevant today. And because the revenue for the country, for the government is nil, and they have to spend extra. And because of this, they have to borrow more. And that has led to the fiscal deficit to inch closer to 5% of the GDP. And what is the new normal? The new normal would be the way Japanese people lives their life, as there is a culture of mask or greeting people without even coming in contact with it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Arnab. That was great. Moving on, Arnab has something to say. Yeah, go on, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. See, before starting delivering my points, I just want to figure it out the actual situation right now. So today is 8th of August, and according to that Worldometer's data, yesterday total 2,89,000 cases was found in India, and among those, 62,000 are now the active cases. You know, around 140 days has passed since the first lockdown, which was imposed on 23rd of March. But still then, we have noticed different kinds of phases, uh, 4 different phases of lockdown and then 3 different phases of unlock. Right now, we are in unlock 3.0. But still now, India is not totally unlocked. Some of the parts are still under either lockdown or partially lockdown. In West Bengal, our government has decided to implement this lockdown in alternative days, and it will continue up to 31st of August. So I think it is the time to evaluate the efficacy and the effectiveness of the lockdown in India. See, now I have thought this question in my mind in different stages. Just like when it was implemented, when 1 month passed, when 2 months passed. But when it was implemented, I accepted that fact that government is locking down the entire country within 3 or 4 hours of notice, so that no one can communicate, no one can commute. So there would be a high chance to restrict that less than 1,000 cases at that time. So I accepted that fact. But unfortunately, I think our government totally couldn't understand that there could be any migrant labor movement. So that movement continued around 3 months. So we all can understand at some point of time, those unfortunate laborers became the major carriers of that COVID virus. So the motive behind that lockdown was generally two motives. First one is providing some times to our doctors or scientists to come up with any kind of vaccine. But obviously, it is not a matter of joke. You cannot come up with a vaccine within 3 or 4 months. And the second thing was to provide enough time to our administrative department so that they can predict the future number of cases and make some make some requirement things like just like temporary hospitals and COVID centers. But unfortunately, this was also totally failed because here in West Bengal, there is a huge bed crisis. Government has got around 5 months, but still I'm not sure if today I found COVID positive, I will get any bed or not. So it was the total disaster for me. But the entire lockdown, I don't consider this process as a disaster. Maybe I am quite unsure about the implemented process. If government could implemented it properly, then I'm sure this number could have much less from that right now time. Now regarding the opening of schools and colleges, uh, I'm not sure though, but I think it is the time to open up the schools and colleges. Because some of the countries like Denmark and South Korea, even Israel, they have opened up their schools. I'm not saying that we can simply copy their methodology, but we can get influence from them. If we think that we should wait up to when the COVID virus entirely gone from our country, our planet, only then we can open up the schools or colleges. Then I think it is not possible because within 1 decade or 2 decades, it will be there. So either it is the time to open up the schools, or it is the time to declare this academic session as null and void. That's all.
All right. Thank you so much, Arnab. Now Anirudh has raised his hand, but before going to him, if anybody else wants, okay, if anybody else wants to talk, please raise your hand. Nitro, I can see 2 or 3 people who have joined just now. Please raise your hand if you want to talk, or then we can open up. Yeah, Sanjeev, please go on.
Hello, guys. Am I audible?
Yeah, go on.
So yeah, the COVID was declared by a pandemic on March 11, and Modi ji on March 24 announced that there should be a 21-day requirement, lockdown requirement to break the transmission cycle. As we all know that the virus has a two-week incubation period. When the India has 500 cases. So let me think. Go into the question that was the lockdown. It was a good thing that the lockdown was initiated soon after WHO declared it as a pandemic, and it has saved so many lives. It helped us to know more about what the COVID is. Although it had several limitations, the COVID virus the lockdown has helped us a lot, and it helped us to know more about how this thing works and how much dangerous the virus is. So yeah, the lockdown was worth it. The financial impact on the financial impact.
Sanjeev, are you there? You cut out in the middle. Okay, so I think we have lost Sanjeev. Anyways, Ankita, you have spoken in the chat. Abhishek will go to Ankita first, and then you can speak.
Yeah, sorry, I was raising hand through the more option and not the participant one. Sorry for that. Okay, so coming to the COVID scenario, as we know, the first COVID case was found around the January month, and today it's the August month going on, but still now the cases are increasing. So, to come to the points like, was the lockdown worth it? If we have noticed that there were many fatal accidents occurring to the migrant laborers that came from the different states going back to their home states, it's that probably proved that the lockdown was not worth it to that percentage of that expected of the lockdown to be worthful for the citizens. If the lockdown was in a planned manner, that yes, the migrant workers were sent off in a
Ankita, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're breaking in the middle. You're breaking up. Your voice is breaking up.
yes. Am I audible?
Kind of. And your voice is still breaking. You can see people in the chat saying it's breaking, but you can switch off your video and then speak. I think.
Yes. So, like can you hear me now?
Yeah, go
Am I
on.
audible now?
You're clear
Yeah.
now.
So the migrant workers thing that I was saying, that yes, if the lockdown was in a planned mode, if the migrant workers were sent off in the scheduled manner, and if the lockdown was done in a planned way, then these fatal accidents wouldn't have been occurring what has occurred here, and therefore, in short, it is quite evident that lockdown was not worth to how much we thought of it. Okay, coming to the next point, the financial impacts. Yes, for these citizens of India, many people are losing their jobs. The manufacturing industries, it is not at all possible for the manufacturing industries to maintain the social distancing and go on with their work, because the laborers need to work together to accomplish the jobs in the manufacturing industries, in the automobile industries. So it is not at all possible for them to open up their offices and their production houses in the mid of the COVID scenario. So obviously these have led to the financial impacts for people, laborers losing their jobs, and has definitely contributed to the financial impacts for the citizens. Coming to India and other countries, India has a huge population, so it was expected that the COVID cases would be rising, and the COVID scenario won't be so much fruitful as the other countries. It won't be recovering in a faster rate as it is in the other countries, and so it is evident it is going on in India in the same rate only. But the thing that the government should have done, the time frame that they got when before the COVID started rising in a rapid way, the time they could have utilized it in bringing up more hospital beds, it's in bringing up more facilities for the healthcare systems, bringing up more ventilators for the healthcare systems. Yes, but that point was lacked somewhere on the other. Okay, for the post-COVID scenario, as we know, we are into the new normal scenario of, for which the officers are coming into the work from home scenes. We have been seeing the e-commerce industries to be fruitful in this scenario. Now the customers thinking has changed from going to offline groceries. Now the online groceries are getting more priorities. So obviously the new normal has been beneficial for the people who are for the industries who have adapted themselves for the new normal, and it would be beneficial for them also. And recently I went through some statistics and I saw that the automobile industry is getting a knee-jerk reaction in this COVID scenario. Automobile industry, also the two-wheeler industries, because people are giving safety a more priority, and thereby they are going for the personalized vehicles more than the Ola, Uber, the cabs that we are having. So obviously these have impacted the automobile industries also. And to the last point, that yes, schools and colleges should be reopened or not. Yes, somewhere I think the schools and colleges should need a reopen, because there are many rural areas where the people are not able to afford the online systems for their education purposes. The people students are lacking for the educational facilities for the rural areas. Instead of opening the schools, if something like my electronic mics are provided so that the villages can be having the classes in that mode, it can be possible. But on a larger scenario, it's better if we go for the reopening of the schools, because it would somehow beneficial for the entire student population that we have in India. So this is what I wanted to say regarding the topic. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Ankita. Thank you so much. Abhishek, you are up next, and then Yashasvi. You'll go after Abhishek. I know you chatted privately to me, so Abhishek, go on.
Hello.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
audible.
yeah. Regarding the COVID, this COVID first case came from Wuhan in January 30, and we had the only 3 cases that completely recovered, and we had a point like we had recovered from this thing, and the second cycle and everything started from the early March. And I think our country did not take adequate action or much seriously during the February period, and then in March it becomes inevitable, especially highly crowded and dense cities like Mumbai, Delhi. It would be difficult once if it had spread. And during the March, it was spreading in India, and it was much essential to put a lockdown, because all we have in our front is the situation from Italy, wherein once in every city these hospitals are built taking a ratio, like number of, like this amount of patients would come each day. They have a calculated amount, and when the number of patients exceeds the limit, like they are only expecting 1,000 patients, and if 10,000 patients come, the doctor can't send. It will lead to a breakdown of the system. We will have to select whom to treat, and many of them will be left to die. So to avoid such a situation and to have a preparation time, we actually needed a lockdown. So the lockdown was implemented, but still I think there are many things that we can criticize in our state, like in Kerala. During the lockdown period, it actually came down to 0 actual cases, is active cases, and then after completely opening up, it's now increasing. But still some other states during the complete lockdown also, they could not control or kind of flatten the curve. Some of the criticism I have is like, the government should have taken a decentralized approach. They should have given the states full power, and the states in turn should have given it to the local self-governing bodies, like in each panchayat level, each ward levels. Only such an active down approach could have helped to contain it in a much better way. And the people need to be educated about the issues, about the stigmas and all. I think that could have done in a better way. And then again is the two-way communication with the people. Like in our state, the chief minister daily, conducts a press meet, and where he explains the situation in the state, what all measures the state government is taking. And each day he takes up question from all the people. He ends his press meets like, you have any more question? And all the questions, some of which the media would report to the CM, and if it's not been in his attention, he will then say, look, he will look after it, and the next day he will come up with an answer. Such a way, two-way communication was also needed. The another thing is regarding the migrant workers. I think it's only during the India-Pakistan partition that such an amount of 1.2 crore people were displaced. Here in this case, it is like 8 crore or somewhat. It's much more than that. Such people, usually when agricultural and all is not productive in their area, they migrate to cities searching for small kind of jobs. They live there for 30 years or so. They do not still have a saving to buy a car and all. So such is the Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are going.
Yeah, such is the condition of the migrant workers, and they have to travel along. So their train tickets was not taken by the government. Such people would actually be in a case of unemployment with no savings and all. And the another thing, they have to have a long-term plan for improving the living conditions of these migrant workers. And then anyway, it was unfortunate that after the 60 days or what, this lockdown has failed to flatten the curve. So in a country like India, where there is a huge income inequality, where there is a huge poverty, 60-day lockdown itself would have broken the backbone of the, especially the poor section of the people. So we are obvious we cannot go on with it for all. So we have to anyway unlock it, but that should be in a progressive way, not a sudden unlock. First, such a what to say, the most needed item shops such should be open. And this, during this time, we should have able to give proper education regarding social distancing, physical distancing and all, to all the people. That should have done, and systematically each step should open up. And there are two things that the government should look in a long term basis. One is to improve the healthcare. We spend very little, like 1% of our GDP in healthcare. Like many other countries, like Italy spend 10% of their GDP in healthcare. China spends like 5 or 6% of their GDP in healthcare. But our government, like the state I come from, our state
Abhishek,
government spends like
Abhishek, I'm really sorry to interrupt, but you are at least 2 minutes over time. So please wrap up your points quickly. That's
yeah,
all.
I will then conclude very fast. And these are the two things that I have to say. The government has to look forward, and the government also look forward to adapt to the new situation, to make sure that in the new situation, no one is left behind. The basic needs of the people are concerned, and what they can do in this situation to improve this. And until it's contained, the only thing that they should look forward is to save the lives. They should make sure that there is a planning to, no such situation of overburdening hospitals arises. So that's all for now.
Right. Thank you so much for your points. If anyone wishes to speak who has not spoken yet, they can do so. Yashasvi, we are coming to you. Yashasvi can go on, and if anybody else, please raise your hand. Anirudh, you are raising your hand and then lowering it exactly. So I don't know your situation, but we can come to you after Yashasvi has done it, right? And please keep the time limit to 5 minutes exactly. We need to open up the discussion soon. Uh, Anirudh, I'm extremely sorry about that. Wait. Yashasvi first.
I'm audible.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. As my all previous speakers have some great points which I wanted to support, but I have my own points. Answering to the question one, I believe that India did a great work when it started. March and April were perfectly fine, but as months flew, our Indian government, the policies were not able to implement. One such example is the immigration problem, which I believe, if have managed properly, would have resulted much more fruitfully. Second example, I want to give my own personal example. When I was coming from Noida to my home, I was in institutional quarantine. So I was not quite happy to see the like services which they were providing. They didn't even tested me. So all these reasons were lack of management. To the second question, yes, I again believe it's a huge economical disaster because we as a country is the fifth economy of the world. But there are some silver lining as well. The most silver lining is the thing that demonetization was not able to do with the online payment system. This COVID has done with it. Now around 80% of the transaction are done online due to the fear of virus. The second thing I wanted to point out that India is a consumer-based economy, and we don't really export that much as compared to the other European countries, China, which is a competitor. So it had a very less impact on us. Third point here, I would say that there is a like huge tech companies which have benefited out of this. There is a report that all the four tech giants, Apple, Microsoft, and HCL, so these have all, their shares have all benefited, they skyrocketed. To the third question, where India versus other countries, we have to tell. So I believe India did a very good job seeing the mortality rate, which is 3.01%, which is quite low comparative to the rest of the world. Other than that, India has trying to focus on more, vaccines, which is again a good point. And third, like the CEO of Medicom said, that India can use this as a diplomacy, medicine diplomacy. So it is a winning situation for India. Coming back to the fourth question, I recently read in the newspaper that government is planning to open secondary higher schools from September 1, which is a great news for everyone, because this is something which will stay. Rather than demoralizing everyone, we should work how to handle it. Like, I want to quote one thing. We all talk about our fundamental rights all over the time, but I guess it's time to function, or it's time to practice our fundamental duties. Like one of the speakers said, we should use mask and all these things. The last point is that what's next and the new norm. So this is a very interesting question because most of the scientists, journalists are not sure what will be the next. I believe after 9/11, what happened to the aviation industry, that they adapted to it. There were more security checks. So this will happen with the same. We will be able to cope up with this because as humans, we have evolved throughout the history. So this is again a disease. We all will fight together and we will able to win over it. And I want to counteract Abhishek point. He talked about Israel. He talked about Israel. So I want to clarify that in Israel there are protests going on against the government because they were not able to handle pandemic COVID-19. So these are all my points.
Right. Thank you, Yashasvi. Thank you so much for that. Moving on, we have Anirudh, and after Anirudh puts forward his points, we can open up the discussion. Right. Go on, Anirudh.
Yeah, okay, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay,
go.
going with this COVID discussion, like first thing we like for us was we had no other option when we had a mass spread of COVID disease actually. So the only possibility was a lockdown. The only lockdown was essential, but it should have been more of a planned one. And the instruction should be very clear. Like they told, we allowed for the first 21 days to go out and get what is essential, and we won't be getting the non-essential products. They failed to create a border between essential and non-essential. They failed to create a difference. Like many people didn't understand what was essential and what wasn't essential. And to go with the daily wage workers and people who make products which expire in 2 to 3 days, like eatables in 2 to 3 days, they have no idea what to do with their stocks piled up. So it ended up like, it was not only a loss of job for them, it ended up like they couldn't be able to sell their products in a quicker rate. And coming to the financial part of this COVID-19, when it comes to India in the fiscal year 2020, the last quarter, the like the margin has went down. Actually, it has went down by 3% more, like previous compared to the previous quarter. And this is mainly because due to this COVID pandemic. Already our GDP was on the verge of going down, but this COVID situation acted as a catalyst. Actually, it acted as a catalyst, and it speeded up the process. So, and our GDP was down. And when it comes especially during until this April and May, until this time, the GDP was constantly reducing. And with the new schemes that are being introduced, like this financial from the finance department, the new schemes that are introduced by the government, we are able to see a increase, like the curve is about, like the curves are about to rise up again. It's like a V-shaped curve, like the finance sector actually. And when it comes to the third point, actually, how India has fared along with other countries, actually. So when it comes to other countries, mainly India is now in the third position, actually, in number of COVID cases. When it compared to like Italy and Spain and all, when it compares to the population, there were like 4,000 cases per day. Like 4,000 cases per day was more actually compared to the population. But compared to India's population, the number of cases is less. And in the recent times, we are all able to move we are all in our normal, like almost in many people are doing their normal routine, like that is they work, they do their normal work from 9 to 6 or 9 to 7. And apart from this also, the number of cases in India is 60,000 per day now. This number 60,000 might seem very high, but when it compares to the entire population and the number of activities evolving around, this number seems a quite a bit normal. And with the opening up of colleges and schools, actually, we can see might be another 10,000 might increase per day. But that's actually a normal number, because many countries are expecting second wave of corona, actually. Like so even with the normal activities going on, our the count in our country increasing is not going to be any surprising. And the number of recoveries also in India is more, actually. Like many people, like as of now, many like what we know is many people who are dying from COVID are basically like above 60 years, or having some medical condition, or some very few very young people, actually. And then coming to the schools and colleges reopening, in my previous statement itself, I explained like colleges should actually reopen, actually. Like it's not going to make any difference now. Like many companies have started opening their offices, and like a normal routine is tending to come back, actually, in the coming days. So with colleges opening, like the preparatory things should be done, actually. And then like safety measures should be taken by the management, and colleges should reopen. Like for our example, like in the example, our college is like some top colleges in the whole India. So we people must come up as an example, because we have a good administration here in Great Lakes. So like many colleges like these should open colleges and be initiative, and they should show a way to other colleges who who have no idea how to deal with this situation. And then coming to the final, like next, what's next, like in the future, definitely in the 2 years, everyone's going to be roaming around with masks and face shields, and there aren't going to be many handshakes and all. But to be on the positive side, the digital economy, like the payments in each and every payment we are doing this now in digital. Like previously, when you compare, we used to take our wallet and phone for our safety purpose. Like we want to use Paytm or GPay, it will be for a safety purpose. Now it is in the opposite direction. We are using our mobiles only for transaction. Very few shops where they have no Paytm or Google Pay, we use our cards or even cash also. It's like we are almost using 90% of our payment. We are doing 90% of our payments in e-payments, actually. So it's all I want to conclude it.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Now we are opening up the discussion for everyone. If anybody wants to counter any point, or if anybody wants to speak anything else, please you are free to do so. From now on, you can unmute and mute yourself on your own. And once again, I would request every one of you to start your videos. But before opening up the discussion, Let me just summarize what everybody said. And the following are the points that were discussed by everyone. First of all, India needs an increased test rate. India was prepared as the pandemic was late in arriving to India. India could have handled the logistics better. They could have procured test kits and all of that stuff better. Somebody talked about the Bangalore model. I don't remember who. The financial impact, there seems to be a split decision. Some people think that it's not huge. Some people think that there is a substantial financial impact on India. Every one of us agrees that there's a good chance for new industries to pop up and new industries to come up in these times. The main point where everybody was disagreeing and with each other was that school should open or not open. It's up to debate, and we definitely can discuss this further. The lockdown was very much worth it, and somebody said that migrant laborers faced much trouble during this pandemic. Somebody also told us that India has the least cases per million, so that's a thumbs up from me. One person said that there's a fear of COVID in India, and we can definitely discuss this further. If there is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? And so on and so forth. Um, India has dense cities, definitely. India is not export heavy in its economy. India has a low mortality rate. And somebody said that normals, or I think Anirudh only said that normalcy has already restored, and people have started going to the offices and schools and moving on with their lives. The final question is the second wave of COVID-19 possible? And with that, I would like to open up the discussion for everyone. Everyone can participate in this. And we have about 15 minutes to go for this. Right.
Hello, guys.
So
In my point of view, I believe there is 100% chances that the second will arrive. And to prove this, I want to give an example of 1918 Spanish flu. According to that, there are stats that when the winter season came, so there were a lot of chances. There were many people affected, and the age group was also decreased. Still, in COVID case, there is the age group. The most dangerous is for mainly 50 above, but in Spanish flu, the same thing happened, and the age group was between 10 to 25. That means we, the youth, are the most, most easily vulnerable people. So there is definitely a chance that it will come because it's a virus. Like Donald Trump has already said, it's an invisible virus. We cannot fight it until we see him. So there are cases, and seeing the trend right now these days, 60,000, 70,000, and we are the top three nations, and the population density, I mean. So these are all the reasons which definitely we will see a second wave in the coming future.
yeah, I would back up this point. Like Abhishek said, that initially there were only 3 cases in India, and India overcome that cases. So that was a very good chance. India was really serious about this condition, and they actually overcome it in some sense. But now I would like to draw your attention to the current situation in Gujarat, which I guess it can be a major cause for the second wave in the country, like how the government is operating here. You might have heard in the news that Gujarat is having the highest mortality rate in COVID-19 all over India. It is always above 1 or 2 points, 1 or 2% above the national average. So if the average is of national average is around 2%, the Gujarat average is around 3.7 or 4% of mortality rate. The reason I guess is till now the Gujarat government is not serious about the rising number of tests. They are not doing tests. They are not implementing the lockdown. The people are to be blamed more than the government here, because especially the Surat, the condition is really worse. The people are not taking the lockdown seriously. They are not wearing masks. They are not using sanitizer. So that is creating a big problem for government. On the government side, I'll take the example of my own district, the Valsad. We have a COVID hospital in Valsad. So there are n number of cases where even I have seen a friend of mine, a person living in Vapi. The lady was old, but his husband had a much severe COVID. Uh, what you can say, symptoms, but the wife doesn't had any serious symptoms. When she went into the COVID ward, she came out dead after 3 days. So what they are, and there are many complaints about the COVID ward. They are not serious. They are not treating the patient right. They are not providing ventilators, even though they are available at the right time to the patient. And even in the institute quarantine centers, they are not testing. The cleanliness is not maintained. So if this is the lookout of government towards this situation, I guess not just the second wave, there will be 3, 4, 5 waves for COVID. So I guess the government should have to be very, very serious about this, and I hope the Gujarat government realize it soon. One more event happened
Kashif,
the day
I
before.
want to Kashif, I want to disagree with Karthik. Can we like speak?
Let me
Like, can we
finish.
cut others' point? Yeah, like
You
let me
can
finish
cut other
one
one
point.
another. Wait, guys. You can cut one another's point, but please don't do it in a fashion where it is disruptive to the other person, obviously.
Yeah.
So
One more point
let Tosha finish, and then we can move on to.
okay,
yeah.
sure.
One more point where the government is to be blamed is incident happened a day before yesterday in Surat, where the Shri hospital, which was COVID hospital, there was a fire in COVID ward which killed 8 patients instantly. Last year, Takshila fire massacre happened in Surat, where students, tuition going students died. That was totally the government was to be blamed, or the builders were to be blamed. They were doing illegal constructions and there were no fire extinguishers. Yesterday, the same thing repeated in Shri Hospital. It was an illegal construction definitely, and there were no fire extinguisher thing. So even after 1 year of such a deadly massacre last year, where innocent students were killed, the government was not serious about this issue. So I guess this negligence, this ignorance of government is really worrying about the second wave and the third wave of COVID situation. Yashasvi, you may go ahead.
Okay. Sorry to disturb you. Otherwise, as Speaker Abhishek and Tasif said, when there were 5 cases in India, the government should have done something. I want to just focus this. The disease is novel COVID-19. It has a word novel in it. That means new. Nobody knew, not even the scientists or the societies, medical scientists knew what was going on. So how can you say that the government should have done testing and other things as well? The second point, again, there was somebody mentioned about the testing kit in March. Again, the same reason I want to give, that all the world was, hoaxing supplying kits from China. Even there are complaints that USA, the testing kits which were coming to India in Kerala or Tamil Nadu, one state, so they were directly, transported to US. So there are like reasons that all the countries in the world were behind testing kits. So I want to say that yes, government can be blamed, but as we all know that it is a novel virus, we still have very much knowledge about how this works. We all get new WHO updates daily that this symptoms are also added to the list. Okay.
Can I
And
actually add?
I want to then.
I would like to
Yes,
add
sir.
one point that as Yashasvi was saying that the government government, or maybe we also don't have the entire knowledge about the coronavirus. It's correct, but like our country, there are the other countries around the world who don't have the same knowledge, but they are also able to overcome these scenarios. They are looking forward to different solutions which can be brought up from these things only. So in that way also, the government of India also needs to speed up. It's quite evident that yes, our India has a huge population. To get testing done for such a huge population, it would take time, but the number of tests per day can be increased, the number of laboratories can be increased, there can be more healthcare facilities in our country to support, or with a increase in the number of beds. These few steps can be taken by the government of India. So there can be and moreover there are many scenarios we have seen that the actual numbers of the test cases are not displayed properly by the government. So government should take steps regarding this discrepancy also, which is occurring in the results that are displayed in the website and the actual numbers. So to make people aware, we actually need to show the actual number, not the projected numbers in some other way, right? So if you anyone can go for it now.
Yeah, actually, the
Yeah,
government
and
is
I would like to add to the point that Hello.
Ah,
Okay,
good.
then
We can hear
Anirudh,
you.
Nirod, you can go
Ah,
on. Anirudh, please.
okay, like yeah, the government should take measures. It's acceptable, but even people like leave us actually. Like there are many uneducated people, no, like they don't know how to respond to it. Like if you tell them to wear a mask, they used to wear it down like this. They used to cover their mouth. They used to cover their ears. They don't cover their nose. That is the most important thing. They need to be educated actually. And like I'm in Chennai actually. See, I literally seen people like even they're standing in shops. Okay, like you have to stand with a social distance. What they do is they place their place the slippers or their bags as to make sure that the line belongs to them, that place belongs to them, and they go and speak together and they form a circle and speak together. And like in Tamil Nadu, even this month also we have a complete lockdown in Sunday. So today is Saturday, right? So you go to any vegetable shops or any meat shops actually, the people would queue up in the places actually. They used to like there's no meaning for a Sunday lockdown actually. Like even government is not doing anything, but even the thing the government is doing is being actually backfired actually because of some many people like this. Like they go like they normally they just don't maintain any social distance or they don't do any things actually. And even in many shops today, even supermarkets, they don't have a hand sanitizer actually. Like they allow the people inside to go and pick the food product. Suppose I pick one food product, I keep it again, and another person touches the same food product. So these are many chances of transmission is more in these type of cases actually.
yeah, I would like to go. I would first like to point to what
To
Yashasvi
add
said
to
as
that,
that in three cases in the January, the thing that I said is that in Kerala, the government used to, review the WHO standards, and they made a standard operating procedures regarding how to deal with it according to the WHO standard. And on February 7th, I think our state government declared it as a state disaster. But until March, there were no seriousness or no other the central government or no other states had any discussion or seriousness during that issue. That's the only point that I said. But anyway, during the March, it would have come because the January 30 case was from directly from Wuhan, but then later it went spread to many other countries. And to the points that Anirudh spoke are all the points I agree that the community also has to raise up to the occasion. All the points he said of taking more care while maintaining physical distancing and all. And that's why I said one solution for that would be decentralization. Instead of centralization, I think when we decentralize and give the power to the local government or such kind of people, it would, if they are educated, they have their responsibility, they could spread it to almost all the people. Uh, that I think would be the best method to spread awareness and educate the people all over around the places. And regarding the second wave and all, the Spanish flu, I think four cycles came, but and it lasted for like 2 years. And back then the facilities were also not improved or developed, but still we overcome. So like we will overcome anyway, but we don't know how many waves would come, and all the countries are expecting another wave and all. But regarding India, to be frank, I am asking, have we finished our first wave? No, the second wave means after flattening the curve and coming down to a good position, another wave coming. But I think we have not even flattened the curve. So to the countries which have flattened the curve also, the new wave would come. And regarding the opening of the schools and colleges, I would like to say is that we have to digest the fact that this is going to stay here for some time, and we have to learn to adapt and live with this COVID. So the only thing that we should take care is that we should follow all the guidelines, maintain physical distancing, and we should make sure that we don't spread it to much people. So that, and in any cases, if the community spread or particular area the cases are increasing, so that area should be made a containment zone, so that there such a situation won't come. So this we should timely prepare it and make sure that the hospitals do not run out of beds. And with such small steps and maintaining all the guidelines, we should open up it, but in a progressive way only. So that's all I have to say right now.
All right.
adding to add to that, I think,
Guys,
Yes,
one
adding to
second,
that,
one second.
Hello.
Before anybody else speak, I would like to ask those who have not spoken. Ankita, I think you have spoken all right.
I've spoken.
Syed is typing in the chat continuously but is not speaking for some reason. Arnav and Arnab, I think.
Yeah, I want to speak.
Okay, Arnav, please go ahead.
Yeah. So one of my colleagues said, one of my friends said that India government should increase the testing facility. But I would counter that India has already increasing their facility at a rapid pace. As I mentioned earlier, also that in the month of April we had only 1,000 testing kits or 1,000 testing per day, and currently we have almost 6 lakhs per day. And many people said that bring on the condition of Spanish flu, but I don't think so. We can relate to Spanish flu because situation back then in 100 back in 1918 was totally different. Now, as a world, we are much more developed and we can counter everything because I think the vaccine also will at last hardly will they will be back for in the market in the middle of 2021. So we just can't have any comparison with Spanish flu that I feel.
Yeah, actually, I have just one last point to add. That is, I think we have not discussed it yet. Our Indian Railways is still under lockdown. So we can guess when that Indian Railways will start their operations, a huge number of people from rural to urban sector, they will commute. So there will be a huge spike at that moment. So thinking about the second wave or third wave, it's not just our concern at that time. So when that spike will come after opening that Indian railway system, so is our government prepared for that? Because right now we are facing bed issues. So when that spike will be there, I'm not sure whether government can facilitate all the treatments at that moment. So can you counter on that? Anyone?
Now if you see, instead of the trains, the buses are already running from the districts to the main cities, right? So there is already a spike. The spikes that is in the number of cases is somewhat being contributed by the people commuting in the inter-district areas. So once, yes, it's true that once the railways open up, the local trains, to be honest, so once that opens up, so the cases will definitely be a spike. But I think the railways should be opened up once we come into the decreasing portion of the curve for our country, for the overall of our country. And once the decreasing of the curve is reached, then we can go for the railways opening. Before that, I think it won't be a good decision for the government to open up the railways.
I like
Guys,
to
just to wrap things up, I think we are already reaching our 1 hour limit. So if anybody wants to wrap it up or just say a final few words, I think they can do that. Please unmute yourself and do that, and we can wrap up soon. Right, thanks. Anirudh was saying something, and then Sayed has continuously been typing in the chat but is not saying anything.
No.
I guess you should wrap up, Karthik. So you haven't
wrap up. Actually, I
given
was
your
about to
point,
contradict
so
that
just
point
you
actually. But
let Anirudh
Right.
contradict, and then you can wrap up.
All right. So if no one wants to contradict or say any points, I think we can wrap up. Thank you all for joining this discussion. It was few participants joined. There were only 10, but I think it was a very fruitful discussion, more so than other
Definitely.
discussions that we have had, and especially containing or fixing a time for it really helps. Anyways,
Feedback from yesterday was helpful to prepare on those weak points or of ours. So it was
definitely.
really
it's
good.
actually good. This is
Let's
my
keep
first
that up.
debate actually. It's very good actually. Like even I got good exposure. Like if you have it weekly once means it
All
will
right.
be
I'm extremely sorry. First, I will wrap up this discussion. Please don't leave this meeting. I'm stopping the recording, and then we can have a feedback session, right?